Good morning, everybody. Welcome to City Life. I'm Linda Bown. I'm going to be your host, and I have council candidate Sean Mcdonough.
Good morning.
Good morning. I just met him. You're a school teacher?
I am. I teach in the LEAP program at Lowell High School. I start in about an hour and a half.
What is the LEAP program?
The LEAP program is one of Lowell High's substantially separate programs. So it's kids who don't really spend much, if any, time in a general education setting. So kids with Down syndrome, intellectual disabilities, autism, etc.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So.
Yeah, and this year, so I've been very busy the last 2 days, one day with kids, one day without. So this year I have kind of transitioned full-time into the 18 to 22 program, which is so in Massachusetts and pretty much every state, you're entitled to receive special education services until your 22nd birthday, at which point the relevant state agency, for my kids it's usually DDS, would pick you up for continued adult services. So it's kids that have finished high school, and so now it's pretty much, it's a fairly extensive like vocational job training and exposure program.
Okay, so that's interesting. So walk me through a day in your classroom.
So, new schedule this year.
Of course.
So right now the plan is, and I'm really thankful to have a boss who's really receptive as we were laying out what this could look like at the end of last year. We go in the morning, kids get off the bus. We have advisory like everybody else at Lowell High School. So that period where you just kind of sit around. All our kids are bused to school though, and don't have to rely on LRTA. So they're all there right away. Eat breakfast. They have a math class that I teach. We split the group in half. We've got about 16 kids right now. That number's going to go up. There's way more than that in our program, but 16 adults, 18 to 22. So they get an English class that my coworker teaches. They get a math class that I teach. Then I teach the other half math. She teaches the other half English. We do a shift with 7 or 8 kids in the school store. Then we start our block. So we got a 2.5 hour block now, which is new this year for us. Laundry, other vocational tasks that we're building out, ideally getting off campus and into organizations or public buildings around the high school so that they get work experience. So we've talked about trying to get into this. We've been working with Sula over at Central about maybe like delivering mail to Central. And this is all, if we're still in the post-pandemic recovery stages here, where before I was working at Lowell High, they had a fairly robust program, and then the pandemic kind of shuttered everything, and now it's finally...
So the math you're teaching is practical.
Yeah.
And in fact, sounds like everything you're doing
Pretty
in
practical.
this particular. So these young adults are going to be going out and now does the school? It's not like the Voc. I mean, is it? You don't set up.
So we
Or do you?
don't, but we don't. So it's not like the Voc.
Right.
However, there are partnerships and relationships that exist that it's trying to. So last year, one of my coworkers, I was still teaching. I was splitting my time last year between high school aged students in this group. So one of my coworkers had a decent relationship with Mass Hire, managed to get 2 students full-time, started off as part-time, and now, one of those kids is now full-time employed. He has 2 jobs. He works at Market
That's
Basket.
awesome.
He works at the Bike Connector. He's, he's contributing but he's still living at home, but he's contributing at home.
So they're able, when they leave your program, to live on their own.
Some of them. Yeah, so our goal is that the kid, young adult, the student, I call everybody a kid, is able to live as independently as they can, which is different for everybody.
Yeah, it is. But it's very important that there's a program like that. That's actually, all students could utilize a lot of those skills.
I make those, so my wife teaches biology and environmental science, and it's nice because it's a little perspective, and so sometimes I'll have coworkers who only teach in my program, and they're like, well, why can't they kids do that? And I'm like, well, I don't know. Carolyn came home the other day, and she was complaining about an honors 17-year-old who also had no idea how to fold a t-shirt. So
Yeah. So I'm
Interrupting you.
I'm sorry, John.
Emile Kaufman's here. So
Okay.
I'm gonna have Sean jump. Get up
Okay.
and have Emile sit where Sean is. Sean's
Okay.
gonna jump over one.
Okay.
And Emile Kaufman, he's running for city council as well.
Okey doke. Okay. I'll pick up with you.
Yeah.
And what time do you have to leave, Sean?
A little after 7.
You're gonna sit right where Sean was, okay? Sean,
I'm keeping my eye on.
you're gonna sit right in that
traffic.
second chair, okay? In the middle chair?
7.
The second
chair.
chair, 1, 2,
Right here.
second chair, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Are we doing this now?
Oh, we're on.
You're live.
Oh, okay.
Sorry for the little delay there. Emile Kaufman has arrived, and he is running for city council.
Yes, good morning. Thank
Good
you
morning.
so much for having me here.
So tell me a little bit about yourself, Emile.
Well, I can tell you what my motive is as far as running.
That's good.
And it's just that the city, I think, needs a new direction. I mean, for countless decades, there's a talk of renaissance, revitalization, and there has been a lot of things done. Obviously, you know the history of Lowell, started by Irish immigrants that dug the canals, the locks, an industrial revolution, textile revolution, and then by 1920, all that changed, and there was the demolition of factories, dislocation of neighborhoods. In the 1960s, there was urban renewal. Entire neighborhoods were destroyed, and Lowell was seeking a new direction. In this sense, the city had the historical park in the 1970s, tech startups in the 80s, the collapse of Wang in that same period. And the city always has been groping in the dark, trying to find another direction. I think the point we're at now is there's a lot of rhetoric. You know, there's, I guess the UN is coming in to rescue Lowell. There's tech areas that the university is going to explore and that kind of a thing. There's a hard difficulty in discerning what's empty rhetoric, what's a mirage in print, from what's the reality. Mm-hmm. So the reality, I think, I'm not trying to be a doom and gloom person. The reality is that the national park is losing funding, right? That's it's a major economic engine in Lowell. The university is gobbling up all kinds of property, undermining the tax base that we have here. Mm-hmm. And there's no real direction forward. Obviously, if you look at what the city council is doing, in the last session, it was a dog and pony show. They had this thing with
Front runner.
Councilor, I think, remember, Corey Robinson, and it was a morality play. And it should have been done behind closed door or court proceedings, but instead we got some kind of woke Me Too gab fest. So this to me is like an indication or a pointer that there's no one behind the wheel. They're just going from what the issue of the day is and they're running on it. But I'm really digressing there. I think what I'm trying to propose is a new economic engine, something that would really be self-sustaining and revitalize the city. And my focus is on downtown. What is the major feature in Lowell that we can all say that we can use to market the city? And that is its restaurant scene. Obviously, Lowell is multi-ethnic, has a great diversity. So the population, Greek, historically Irish, Cambodian, Portuguese, Brazilian, and this is all reflected in the restaurant scene. Mm-hmm. And this thing can be marketed to communities throughout New England. In other words, instead of keeping it the secret to the Lowellians, we can reach out and say, Lowell is Restaurant City.
Okay.
That would be the moniker. It's foodie paradise. And I'm thinking of a billboard campaign in the Metro Boston area, create tours, tour packages where people can eat at one of the restaurants, go to and see a show at the auditorium, go see a sporting event. In other words, market Lowell
Yeah.
in a way that it hasn't been marketed before, a proactive way. Another thing that Lowell's missing, if you really look at the downtown area, is flagship restaurants and apparel stores that are national. So you have to ask yourself the question, why doesn't Lowell have that in the downtown area? And the real reason is there's not enough foot traffic. So a Bertucci's or an Applebee's or what have you, they look at the foot traffic and say, well, it's not sustainable. We really can't do it here. But if you change that dynamic and you bring the foot traffic back in Lowell, and part of that is bringing back the buses, but eco-friendly buses.
You gotta kind of sum it up, you're running. You're starting to play.
Yeah, we're running out of time.
Oh, we're running out of time? Okay, so,
Emile, we have 2 hours, and you're running on with what you're gonna do. If you could give us a synopsis of what you wanna do as a city council.
I don't understand what direction you want me to go in as far as,
You're taking too long
I'm
to
j-
talk.
okay, you want me just to hit some talking points and
Yes.
Yes.
then wrap it up?
I think you have, so we're.
Okay, so this is just
So
like,
We're gonna stop you right there, going back over.
right, so this is just like an introduction to,
Emile, we're gonna stop where you are right now, okay? Stop. We're gonna turn the show back over to Linda, she's the host, and she's gonna pick on who's gonna talk, and that's how it's gonna go. All righty?
Okay,
I was given no information on what the protocol on this program is. So it's almost an affront to jump on me now and say I'm doing something wrong. As
You're good. You
Emile, it's my job as the producer to give you.
I know, but you never told me, but I was never given any kind of information
You have
on
no
how to
say.
proceed.
You never call and ask.
All right, I'll just be curt. My name is Emile. I'm a candidate for Lowell City Council, Council at Large, and I would appreciate your support, and I thank you very much.
perfect.
okay. Excellent.
Okay.
And you're for Renaissance in downtown. So now, what district are you running for?
Council at Large.
At large. So have you been campaigning throughout the city? What are you doing? Are you going door to door or?
Well, if you look at the dynamic on how campaigns are run here, everyone has their own networking. So you have established candidates that know who their friends are, and you can't really expect to tap into that, voter block.
Okay.
Right? And in a sense, it's a good old boy network.
Okay,
right?
so how do you reach out?
I'm a Republican conservative, and I don't believe in big city government, the social engineering that exists here now, right?
Okay.
Those things have never worked, right? And they never will work. So I'm reaching out to people that are entrepreneurial minded and understand grassroots efforts and let the city's economic engine go to the businesses that actually reside downtown and actually have so change the power dynamic and go forward in that direction.
So the crux of what you're running for is it's basically for downtown and to improve the
Well, if
foot
you improve
traffic,
the-
I guess, to the
if you-
restaurants that are
If
there.
you improve the downtown, you improve the atmospherics of the entire community. And if you make it a destination city, a real tourist area, you change the complexion, the tax base, and everything else that goes along with it.
Okay, where do we get the money to do this?
The money comes from the increased foot traffic that comes into the city. If you can generate people coming into Lowell, the same way the National Park has, right? The National Park brings in tens of millions of dollars. If you can change that dynamic, then the money naturally, organically comes in, right? Typically, right now, we're relying upon traffic tickets and property taxes and that kind of a thing. So the burden really is on the people. And with the shrinking pork barrel revenue that's coming into the city from the federal and the state government, obviously the Trump administration has changed that dynamic. The city has less revenue, and it's going to put more pressure and more of a burden on your average person.
Okay. Sean,
Yes.
you
Hi.
over there. What about you and what is your platform?
Yeah, so platform. Sorry, I went off to La La Land for a second there. I was just admiring the wallpaper.
You're a little too tight on the microphone.
Whoop, sorry. Is that any better?
4-inch, yeah, that's good.
Okay. I had 3 words at the beginning of the it's actually 4 words, but it's parks, parking, pedestrian safety, and really why I say parks, parking, and pedestrian safety. I live downtown.
Okay.
District 4 is not downtown, but District 4 is Pack Central and most of downtown, and a bit of Pawtucketville and a bit of Centerville. And I'm sure I'm missing somebody. It's also UMass whole East Campus for whatever
It's
reason.
a very bizarre
It's an
district.
insane district. But so parks, parking, pedestrian safety affects every single one of those neighborhoods, and it affects them similarly, but slightly differently. So in downtown, we don't have any parking, and someone's going to throw something at me because we have parking garages, but the parking garages are gross, and the concrete's falling from the ceiling, and nobody wants to park in them.
Okay.
Right, and it costs $100 a month for a resident to park their car. It's $135 for a non-resident monthly pass. The city obviously gives themselves free parking, so city workers aren't paying for parking, which is fine, but the city also isn't paying the enterprise fund for parking, at least not that I can find. But then our small business owners who love to complain about this, one of them lives in district, in their right. Actually, a few of them live in district, but one of them lives in Pawtucketville, so she has to drive in to open her store. And so she's driving in to open her store. She's paying $135 because she's not a downtown resident. Every single one of her employees in a tight margin, not high-earning small business is paying $135 a month to park their car. So she, instead, is paying their $135 garage parking.
Okay.
She's on tight margins as it is.
Yeah.
Right? Same thing, any of your restaurants and bars, your waiters and bartenders, unless they happen to live within walking distance, are driving in. So they're also paying $135 a month if they're parking in the garage. They used to be parking on the street. They'd pay for 2 hours, and then at 6, so if their shift started at 4:30 for a 5 o'clock open, they'd pay for 2 hours. Parking stopped at 6, so they could leave their car on the street all night. And I get that people had problems with that for all sorts of reasons, but now what we've created is if you are a bartender or a waiter, waitress, you service person, right? And you're looking at 2 places that you could work. You could work at one where you have to pay $135 for a garage pass every month, and you can work, or you could work literally anywhere else in the area and pay nothing for parking. Do you want to give up one night's pay and hope it's a good night
Yeah.
to work in Lowell, or should you go work in any other surrounding community
So,
and keep your $135?
so where's everybody going to park?
Good point, Linda. And I like a lot of what I'm hearing this morning.
So,
And what I understand is the city blows the dough they get from marijuana. They blow the dough they get from parking. They blow the meals tax on other things when they should be using those recently, especially the two new tax revenues, which is marijuana sales and the food tax. The city should use that money to promote businesses in Lowell, whether you have a restaurant in Centerville, or you have a restaurant in Pawtucketville, or you have a restaurant in downtown Lowell. All the restaurants should be promoted, not just downtown.
also true.
I'd like to see the city move off in that direction and tell our marvelous manager to spend the marijuana money on promoting Lowell and to spend the food tax money on promoting restaurants. That's what I like. But you guys are running for city council, but I do like what I'm hearing this morning. Thank you, guys.
So I think where are people going to park? We have parking garages. The issue is that the parking garages are too expensive. The parking garages are too expensive because we being people who utilize enterprise fund parking, are paying the city's debt on the Hamilton Canal innovative parking garage to the tune of about, it's north of $4 million a year in debt service. So when the city council, and I don't understand why I understand why we're all still pretending that the enterprise fund is losing money, but the enterprise fund is losing money to the extent that if you take $4 million away from $2 million, you're short $2 million, right? So the enterprise fund itself, without a debt payment that no one who parks downtown or in the neighborhood, because their fees also went up to make it look fair as they continue to jack up parking fees downtown. The enterprise fund is probably silly, but if we're going to have an enterprise fund, that debt payment for HCID really should not, for accounting purposes, needs to move. That's the city's debt. That needs to come out of the general fund as a line item, and it does, because that's not. If the city is building a empty parking garage, and they're saying that this parking garage is going to facilitate future development, and this is going to be good for the entire city, then it sounds like that is an investment that will benefit the entire city. Building a parking garage in an empty lot, surrounded by nothing, doesn't benefit anyone who lives or works downtown.
Okay.
If that $4 million is coming from the general fund and not the enterprise fund, then when we're looking at the enterprise fund is suddenly up over $1 million and not bleeding $2 million. So now there's less pressure to continue raising.
Well, Sean, you bring up a good point about the parking. I'm going to ask Emile what he thinks. I think that the restaurateurs should be given a parking card
Yes.
that you can park at a reduced rate. And you
Yeah.
give each of your employees a little card and says, that's it, because everybody who works at the school department, they have an Easy Pass card. I don't know if the school department pays the city.
I can't find it. No, but the city employees also, because the city also pays for city employee parking, and I can't find.
Where's that money moved around from, if they're paying for it? So, Emile, what are your thoughts?
Everything he says, I understand, but where's the direction forward? Where's the solution? I think on the scenario that he said about the parking lot in the middle of nowhere, maybe a shuttle bus service from those parking lots, a free shuttle bus service could be a partial solution. I would think the parking garages here are plentiful, so it's surprising that there's, lack of parking, even though that issue has been addressed on many different levels. So it's a conundrum. How do you actually solve it?
The parking garage that we just built, the newest one, okay, on Market Street, to my understanding, is underutilized. There's plenty of room in the garage.
Yeah, the HCID garage is empty.
So they should offer that to the residents at a very reduced rate.
Yeah.
And now you can have a premium parking spot right on Hurd Street. If you can park right where you want to park, and you're going to pay premium, but you can pay 1/3 of that and park in the garage.
Well, and John, we're committed to doing uniform pricing everywhere except for the parking meters, which the parking department is treating like Uber, and we do surge pricing, so you never know what your street spot's going to cost, which I don't use because I live here. But Sal Lapoli, who we gave a parking garage to. I mean, we let him build it, but we gave him that parking garage across the street from the courthouse.
He built that with his own money.
Yes.
We didn't give him anything.
Well, we gave him the land for $2 million.
If I give you something for $2 million, I didn't give you anything. You paid $2 million.
Johnny mortgaged the land for $22 million. So Lowell 5 valued that land at
Okay, we can't go backwards. The mess is the mess.
The mess is the mess, and we chose not to clean it up. No, but where I was going is that Sal charges $4 night and weekend parking, and most cities with parking garages around us charge a night and weekend rate. We don't. We don't.
You got to charge what's working. If this is
Is
not
it working?
I don't know. I don't park in the garage. I have a handicap placard. I park on the street. I park for free
Right.
because I have a handicap placard.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't park in a garage because why should I? I can park right in front of the restaurant for free.
Well, because anyone who's going to that restaurant is either parking on the street and looking for a ticket, which is increasingly close to what it costs to park in the garage because it's $16 is the daily rate on the garage, which kicks in after 5 hours.
For the resident, the voters, as a city councilor, would you vote for a reduced rate if they use that garage that's underutilized?
Yes.
Emile, what would you do?
I would go the way of Waltham, and it's a radical solution. Waltham years ago, and 10 years ago, it was called the Miracle of Waltham. They got rid of all parking meters, and they allowed people to come in and park.
Yep.
And if you stay too long, there was somebody that had a chalk mark that indicated that you extended your time period. But I think getting rid of the parking meters and just opening up the entire area to free
God bless you,
parking.
it ain't gonna work. I have friends of mine that own restaurants, ice cream stands, particularly ice cream stands. And if you don't make them pay for the spot in front of the store, that's where the employees park,
Right.
so they can watch their car all day. So that's the problem with Lowell business people, some Lowell business people. When I go out to a place called Donna's Donuts in Tewksbury, the employees are made to park the furthest from the door. The parking spots next to the door are for the customers. And the owners of Donna's Donuts realize that. So they say, okay, we got plenty of parking. You got to go park over there. Guys and gals that work for me, when we have a busy day, they're told, you're going to go park far from the close to the doors for the customers. The employees park way over there.
Do you think there's any definitive answer on how this can be resolved, or?
I like the parking the way that it is.
Okay.
I think that the premium rate, the city is glutton for money. We need to look at our expenditures. We spend way too much money. We have way too many administration staff. We have way too many people who work for the city of Lowell who will make it over 100 grand a year, where the average salary in Lowell is under 40,000 a year. Under 40,000 is the average in Lowell. And so you can't be paying your employees 100, 150, 200 grand a year when the income's 40 grand. We're way overpaying. We have way too many administration people. That's my solution. Back over to you, Linda. Sorry to hog you.
No, I guess the parking is the big issue here, and particularly in District 4.
Well, I also...
Do they have the problem, okay, the restaurants in Centerville,
Yeah.
do they have the problem with the parking?
They don't have parking garages, but most of Centerville doesn't have paid street parking either.
So how does that work there? The people that live there and the people that
Right.
go to the services there, the businesses, where do they park? Is that an issue? No?
The section of Centerville where I am, like that's in District 4, is almost entirely houses. What I have seen is usually parking, either the business has a small lot or parking on the street.
Okay.
And it's
And so
great.
then your district comes down into,
Back Central, and then in back,
now there are restaurants there.
there
I
are
know that.
restaurants there, and boy,
Of
is
course,
there
it's in-
parking problems in
there are-
Back Central.
Okay,
And the city actually recently took away about 14 parking spaces. I have the count written down at home, so I might be underselling that. It might be more than that. Because I've never seen these signs anywhere else. I've gone to Callery Park. I don't see the signs at Callery. I've never seen a sign near Shed. But there is a skate park in Back Central at the bottom of Hudson Street.
okay.
Do you know where I'm talking about, John?
Yep, Rotary Park.
Thank you. And there were, about 7 years ago, I've learned much about this park, but 7 years ago, there were no parking signs, park use only, surrounding the park. And there's a street that goes through this park.
Okay.
The residents got angry. The city took the no parking signs, park use only, down because it's a park. It's a neighborhood park that people are walking. Nobody. I'm going to say nobody, and now one person's going to come forward and say, I drove there once. Nobody's driving to this park. This is a park that people walk to. It's a skate park. There's a tiny playground. It's a walking park.
Okay.
14 parking spaces. No one has off-street parking in this neighborhood.
Okay.
The city, like week and a half ago, put all those no parking signs back up. They took away 14 parking spaces that people in this neighborhood were using. You have 3, 4, 5 working adults to a property and no driveway, so you're all parking along the street. The streets are filling up. You have people parking 2 streets over. You have all over the place wherever they can find a spot. Parking is an absolute premium. And the city took 14 spots that now sit empty for a park that people at best walk to. No idea.
Do you think the city has an incentive to make revenue from parking tickets? In other words, there's a conflict of interest.
Well, so
the city needs that money, and they really don't have an incentive to make it that easy. In other words,
Okay, just going over to what the audience has to say here. Sal bought the lot, which had contaminated soil on it for approximately $1 million, removed it, and then built the garage.
yeah,
Then this guy sends a picture of, this is Middle Street, and this is how Middle Street looks, and it should be fixed, and it's not going to get fixed this year because you know what? It's going to get cold. We had all year to fix this. We didn't do it. So thank you, Mr. Manager. Nice job. And then the last comment is, this is in downtown. Maybe the reason no one goes in downtown area. This has been like this for years. He makes a good point, and back over to you guys. Thank you.
they're right.
But, okay, so all right, so when they took away first of all, was there any notice to the neighbors they were going to take away the 14 parking spaces?
I mean, I learned what I learned knocking on doors and then people tell
Okay.
me. So according to the residents I talked to, no, there wasn't.
Okay.
Am I going to say no, there wasn't, and then I'm going to have someone from
Okay.
we notified.
All right,
Residents are saying they didn't know it was coming.
okay. Have any of them gone to the councilors?
Yes,
And what has happened?
we're not getting anywhere.
They're not-
People tend not to tell the person running against the challenger.
Yeah.
I usually don't learn all of that much if things are going well for people.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So,
No, maybe life change if it's going well.
It's probably 10 years ago, if not longer. The city took away all the parking on Elm Street, which is just down the street here.
right.
And the residents didn't know who to go and complain to. The city just, no more parking on Elm Street. They used to park on one side of Elm Street all the time. It was tight, tough. Now, we rocket down that street because there's no parking, and people who live on Elm had to find places elsewhere. Now, to find out by Rotary Park at the end of Hudson Street, where Ray Rourke used to live, there's no more parking in that neighborhood. It's a disgrace.
It's impossible, and you can't. Where are they supposed to go?
Well, I would call my city councilor and call my call Vesna noon. Call Vesna and say, Vesna, can you come down and take a look at this? Vesna had the parking meters removed from Couple Square up on the Highlands.
Yeah,
He's a powerful guy.
that's true.
He doesn't demand much, but the business people up in Couple Square say, you know, these parking meters are crazy, Vesna. Vesna just told the manager at that time, they gotta go. And you know what? The parking meters. Goodbye, parking meters.
Goodbye.
Well, he's a counselor, so you have to become a counselor
So you need
to be
call,
able to do
call
that.
Call Vesna, get him down to Hudson, get him down to Rotary Park, and he'll tell the manager, take those signs. I want the signs
Well-
down now.
Now, that's part of your district?
Yeah,
So your rep should be, your counselor
Right.
should be doing that.
they should.
And so should be communicating with the residents
Well,
what's being done.
and the issue in Back Central, or with the issues, Back Central doesn't. There is no rhyme or reason to parking or traffic patterns in that neighborhood. You go down one street and there's parking on both sides of the street. You go and it's a one-way.
So
you
what
go,
street are we talking about?
North. Is North Street?
Sorry,
a
I'm
one-way?
playing with the gadgets open. What are you talking about?
I'm trying to remember every street name in Back Central.
We're talking about Back Central, and he says,
Yeah,
the
so-
park.
I know it like the back of my hand. What do you
Okay,
need to know?
he says the traffic patterns and the parking, there's
It
no
doesn't
rhyme
make
or reason.
sense. There's no rhyme or
So-
reason. You have one, so like, and it's the connector streets. So between Lawrence Street, Central Street, Gorham Street as your three arterials, you have
The biggest problem you have in back central is, you need a stop sign at the top of Wamasett Hill.
Yes.
You need a stop sign right there, because people come down the Lowell Connector, they take a right onto Gorham, they take a left onto back central, which is a raceway. They fly up to 55 miles an hour, fly right by Frank and Ernie's, and they get to Wamasett, and they take a quick right because there's no stop sign there. And everybody has to yield for them. If you put a stop sign at the top of Wamasett, that cut through will be gone in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
They have to stop.
We talked about this last time.
Terrible. Emil, what is your section of law? What is your section of law?
He's at large.
I live in University, yeah, but I wanted to ask him a question.
So you were at large?
Yeah, at large.
Okay, good.
Do you think that the way the parking is construed in Lowell now is a safety hazard? Because when I'm driving around Lowell and I want to pull into a main street, my visibility is obscured by the way cars are parked. In other words, you have to pull into the road to actually see what's going on. But at that time, there's oncoming traffic, and you have to take a sharp right or a sharp left. Have you seen that same issue at all? Or?
I've seen it. The cars aren't supposed to park within however many feet of an intersection. I can never remember exactly what it is. I think they do anyway, but they're not supposed to.
Yeah?
Where I was going to go on Back Central, though, just to
Yeah.
is it's not, without giving a specific street name, because I'm going to say one and it's going to be the one that's a
Okay.
two-way and the one next door is a one-way. You have like a street like Lawrence Street that runs along parallel to the river.
Yeah?
And then so it's Lawrence, Central, and Gorham Street are your three that run this way. And a lot of the connecting streets between like Lawrence Street and Central Street,
Yeah.
you'll go, one street's a one-way with parking on one side of the street. You'll go 3 streets down, and now the street is the same width, and it's a two-way. Then you go one more street, and now it's a one-way, but parking's on both sides of the street. And it's you just don't. and when they're on the side of the street, if there's parking on both sides of the street, or if it's a two-way street, the parking is actually on the sidewalk, and so now there's no sidewalk. And so when you're trying to walk, like I am, and lots of people who live in this neighborhood are, and I'm pulling my little wagon with the Vote for Sean sign on it and whatever, right? And you can't get around. You cannot walk because there's cars parked there. So then you get in the street, and then when you get in the street, maybe it's a one-way, maybe it's a two-way. You have cars bombing at 35 miles an hour down narrow streets with parking and kids running around, and the kids trying to learn how to ride a bike. It's not safe.
Okay.
I see the same thing coming from Butterfield Street onto Fletcher Street. If you're going toward Dunkin' Donuts or Market Basket, you try to pull out, you have absolutely no visibility. And I think it's a lack of traffic or parking enforcement that allows these blind spots to occur throughout the entire city. In other words, the risk factor is incredibly high driving around in Lowell because there's cars parked on both sides, there's blind spots everywhere, and you're just playing it by ear, and that should never be in a city while you're driving. I think safety should be a total priority.
What department, now, John, you've talked about it's top-heavy with administration. So who's in charge of arrangement in the parking? Who is the parking director? You must have one in Lowell.
Yeah, we have a
Of
park.
course, we probably have 4 or 5. We have the chief, the little chief,
No, but you got to
the
put
Indian and the
Oh, so-
Indian captain.
We have
Terrible.
So we have the parking department, and we have the person who runs the parking department, whose name I could tell you, but I would feel bad if I just say it on air. And then I don't know. It's Terry Ryan. Terry Ryan's the parking director. I'll say it. Who cares? But then I don't. I actually.
What's he making, 150?
His salary, I don't know off the top of my head.
Would you mind if I just digress from the parking to another issue? Is that
Well, I'm
acceptable?
going to hit these two, Emil, and then we can drift off in whatever direction you want. The
I
first
just want
Yes.
to talk a little about the Duck Island and the sewage, the raw sewage that's being dumped in the Merrimack
So,
River.
Emil,
Okay.
we'll come back to that in a couple of minutes. Right now, I'm going to go with
Let's
what's
see
on the
who the-
screen from the viewers, okay?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Correct.
From the audience, they want to know from both Sean and Emil, what do you think about, is it a good thing for Lowell to be involved with the UN trip to Geneva, Switzerland? And then the second one, looking at the parking lot across from the old Superior Courthouse, which is owned by the state, and was a jury parking lot. It's filled with cars every day because of the limited no parking in the area. People can't afford to pay for parking. How does the city approve a building that is in the area that won't have enough parking? They blame it on the B&M Railroad. So, Emile, or
Okay,
Sean, what do you think about this first one? Do you think?
Right, the whole thing is very vague and obscure. I mean, it sounds like a big deal, the UN, Lowell, whatever. But it's one of those things where the ambiguity makes it sound like it's an incredible thing. But unless you spell out the specifics and how it actually benefits the city and what it's going to do to impact the quality of life, the standard of living, to me it's just a mirage, a talking point. But I could be wrong, but it sounds like, something to, it sounds like propaganda. But then again, if you were to ask anybody what the UN means to Lowell, I don't think anybody, including the Lowell Sun, could probably give you a specific answer. It just sounds too vague, too much like a mirage in print.
Sean?
I think money, I don't mean to tick off John any further, but money is money, and it all spends the same. So if this front-runner group wants to come in and put money behind projects, and we have a city council with something resembling a coherent vision that can drive that development in a direction that's beneficial to residents in the city, then it's not going to hurt to look for it. Worst case, you don't get the money. Best case, you get develop. Right? I don't.
I think the fact that they took the initiative,
Right.
and they're working very hard to bring extra money. John brought it up earlier. One of the issues to me would be the state that levies all these different taxes, and you get different monies. Right now, what do you do? What happened to the marijuana money?
Right.
Well, do you guys know?
We hired your sister. Come on. That's what with the marijuana money, we hired your sister. Everybody knows that. Lowell's jobs, that's all it is, jobs.
Well-
Great paycheck.
On the UN money,
Yes.
I think it doesn't sound like it was particular. I mean, good job to the mayor for showing up in Toronto and being, I think, the only one who walked in and getting the money, which is, I guess what I'm learning is door knocking, is sometimes if you're the only person that shows up, you just kind of get somewhere. And I don't know if any money is going to show up or not. I'm not going to pretend that I can divine. Emile's not wrong. The words in the paper are kind of vague. They're vague.
But from my end, I trust Danny Rourke. Danny
Yeah.
Rourke's the mayor. I don't think Danny would bring the city down any avenue that there wasn't a big fruit tree for everybody to enjoy at the end. So
Correct.
I
Would you agree
Well, and I guess that's where I guess what I'm saying is best case there's a really nice fruit tree. Worst case we think we're walking to a fruit tree and the apples aren't there yet. But boy, imagine if they were.
It's really a poster.
Yeah, but we don't lose anything for trying to get them.
Emile
Right,
had
but
a
would you
point.
agree the money is drying up in Lowell? That the money that Lowell had customarily got, let's say during the Biden administration, the pennies from heaven, all the NGOs and the nonprofits, that money isn't there anymore. So the operating system is changed. So the dynamic how Lowell's going to get money needs to change as well.
But that's
In
what
other
this is,
words,
Emile.
it's not going to be on life support from the federal or the state government. The state government is not even getting the money itself.
Right, but if this program, if this works out, if that fruit tree is there and it's not a poster, like Sean just said, then this is a new investment stream. And the issue becomes when the developer, if you don't have a strong council or you don't have a counselor who's going to meetings with the developers,
Okay.
then you don't have a voice at that table, right? And you don't have a say. But if the city and through district counselors, the districts that make up the city are at those meetings and are as the funding's coming in, and that the front runner city thing is there's been plenty of opportunity for the city to go to these meetings,
Right.
and so if we are driving, we being the city are driving that investment, if it materializes, and worst case it doesn't, and no one gets hurt. There's no loss.
Okay.
best case, the money, the investment materializes, and we get, a revitalized South Common with mixed development, whatever. But that was one of the mock-ups.
Sean, you're running for District 4.
I am.
Okay. I have never met the rep from council from District 4. Now, I know what all the others
Dave's
do.
coming next week. I don't know what
Yeah.
day's coming.
Okay, so I know what Kim does in her,
Yeah.
and I know that she responds. I know what Dan does in Pawtucket. I know what Corey Robinson does in Centerville. I know what they all do, and I know what Rita Mercier does, and she answers everybody's call.
Sure does.
But what has he done for your district is what I'm asking. Now, don't be shy. Come on. You're running against him.
I feel like every time I come on here, John, I make someone angry because somebody
Go
asks
ahead.
a question.
What? Why? Then don't. That's what you do when you run.
I know. I don't know. Honestly,
Okay.
So here's what it is. So this front runner thing that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Never mind whether you went to Geneva or a lot. Things come up. We didn't go. They were at Cobblestones, right? A couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
The people from Toronto and this
Yeah.
economic forum came in, and I mean I looked at all the pictures. I saw it. I think every city councilor I saw in these pictures except
Yours.
mine.
Which it affects.
And it's down the street. I mean, throw a baseball from I live on the same street. Throw a baseball, you can hit cobblestones. So if we're not going to those meetings, right? If we're not going to those meetings, and it's whether we are cynical and we're calling it magical UN money or cautiously optimistic, which I think is where I would put myself. I've lived in Lowell long enough not to be waving pom poms quite yet, but I would like to. I would love to. I would much rather pick up pom-poms here. However, if we don't have a voice at the table, if we don't have an advocate, then yeah, I have no idea what we're
So
getting.
you have a poster sitting in that chair. I'm just asking for one. You're running for.
Yes,
just
no,
One
that's
thing that
fine.
has he done any?
Yeah, so you have.
I
you
can
have,
on Kim. I can on the.
Last time I was on, or 2 times ago, the intersection at Chapel and Elm, which is now covered in Sean Yard signs. 4 years. 4 years. We finally got a motion through. He finally brought up a motion at the last meeting about Chapel and Elm and this dangerous intersection. Because it's an election year, and when we went out to put our signs up in all the places we used to have signs, we found all mine. And then we put a motion in about this intersection, finally, for 4 years. And when I was there, I saw the messages, because the people who live there are showing me the messages that are being sent, right? And that aren't, we're not getting anywhere.
Okay.
We're not responsive to daily, routine, neighborhood, quality of life issues.
Okay.
We're just
Because I
not.
know, as I say, I have different reps on, and they come in and they can say, "This is what I did here and there." And I think we're getting before we go off too far, because I was, I think that you.
No, I got text. I'm gonna show
Oh, okay.
Uh-oh.
So, backing the bus up just a little bit, I wanted to get you guys, right now, the city uses for an excuse, they voted with the MBTA, they don't have to have parking to build a building. And that's a crooked truth, that they chose the no parking one that was rolled out by the administration, and the city council just voted for it, thinking that was the law, and that's not true. How do you feel about the MBTA? This one right here, talking about parking. Parking's a problem.
Yes.
In a lot of the neighborhoods in Lowell. And it's only going to get worse because the city is allowing developers to build buildings with 0 parking.
I saw that text and I was waiting really patiently for us to get here, because I have never agreed with the texture on this show so strongly. Waiving parking requirements for development makes sense in areas that there isn't a problem parking, right? Like where there is plentiful parking, yeah, adding more parking spaces doesn't make sense. When you're talking about a development in Back Central, Where you've got cars clogging sidewalks, nobody has a place to park. Where, are you kidding me?
Sean, it's a thing where I trust Danny Rourke to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Wayne Genesi's a nice guy. I just think personally, my own personal opinion, my own big mouth over here, he's out of touch. He's out of touch with reality. I don't think he knows Centerville like he should, where the district goes over into Centerville.
Right.
And Pawtucketville. I don't think he knows this part of town like he should. And to let development happen in this part of town, there's no room at the
It's
end.
asinine.
I like what this guy has to say about Emile. He likes what Emile has to say. They said the arena would be good for the city, a ball field would be good for a city, a hotel would be good for the city, home run Emile, it's all bull fodder. He makes good points. The city has been trying to roll its own wheel my whole lifetime. And it's been successful at some things, successful at the others. And right now, downtown needs to get fixed. We need to get people down there. I was lucky enough to have dinner there on Monday. It was fantastic. I found a place to park. There were no homeless to be found anywhere. We drove around looking for them. We couldn't find them. And downtown is free of the homeless, so I tell the whole community, if you want to go eat in any of the restaurants in downtown, look, come on down. Have a good time. Back over to you guys. Time is shot for 7 o'clock.
Yep, so I guess you're at large, so you have more issues, but on your district, the meat of what you're saying is that you're running because the council doesn't show up.
Correct. We need someone that advocates, that is a strong advocate for residents in the district. And I understand that the current state level administration is really big on housing. I agree, people need places to live. I am not opposed to building more housing. I am, like that texter, very skeptical and opposed to waiving parking requirements and continuing to over-densify already incredibly dense. But Back Central has got to be, if Back Central is not the densest neighborhood in the city, there are, between Back Central, downtown, and the Acre, which is, and I don't really have much of the Acre at all.
Centerville has a lot of condensed.
Centerville is also very dense. Centerville is also, and then you have that stupid apple orchard thing, because that's up the hill from several streets that I have, and they're all upset about that, and they're right, because right now, grass and trees soak up water, and when you put in pavement and roofing, all the water runs down the hill. So it's all over the place.
Yeah.
When we're developing in dense areas that already are experiencing
Go ahead.
already experiencing all of the issues in life impact that accompany density, we need to work on making sure that the residents in the dense neighborhoods, Back Central, downtown, the Acre, most of Centerville, have a reasonable level of amenity and quality of life, like parking and a park, someplace to go outside. No one has a yard, right?
Right.
So before we add even more people with no parking requirement, no green space requirement on the building, I think that
sounds like an issue.
It's insane. It's insane, and all it does is it detracts from the quality of life of the people living there. You make the neighborhood worse, and I understand, and it's an argument that gets advanced all the time when we talk about development in Belvedere or the Highlands. I don't represent Belvedere or the Highlands, right?
That's the point I've been trying to make. I know all about the issues in those districts.
Right.
I don't know about the issues in your district because nobody's been in here to tell me about them.
No, and then we take the short straw, and then when we want to do a development, and we won't put anything in Belvedere or the Highlands, which.
Are you saying that the
Wait a second,
over?
Emil's been kind of quiet, so.
Sorry.
Emil,
Are you
what do
saying
got
that the
thoughts?
over gentrification is affecting, or the attempt to make Lowell kind of too yuppified is affecting the quality of life of the average person in your neighborhood?
I'm saying that when you put 150 new residents in a neighborhood with no parking, and you don't require the developer to have any parking, and Back Central's not serviced by a parking garage that's empty. That's not the HCID lot, right? When you put all these new people who all come with cars because we don't live in the pipe dream fantasy where we all get on a monorail and go to work or whatever. Like every working adult has a car that they
Absolutely.
use to go to work. So if we don't have a place to put those cars and we don't have an infrastructure in place to get those people in and out of the city, because other than me, very, very few people that live here seem to have jobs in Lowell. So
Yeah.
they're getting on their car and they're trying to get to the Lowell connector and get out so they can go to work. If we don't have the infrastructure to support that and to store the cars, then we're just further immiserating an already overpacked, crowded, back central neighborhood. That's all.
We're coming up near break time. We come back, I'm going to ask you guys, what are we going to do about the homeless? Two comments, and then we're going to go off to break land, or pretty soon after that. Mr. Maldonado. Francisco Maldonado was here yesterday. He was talking about the budget. Where should the city cut spending? Or is it a pipe dream? Lowell is spending, it has a spending problem. I agree
Yeah.
it does. Heinz Tavern, Old Fury's Tavern are horrible spots for housing, no parking whatsoever, yet the city granted permission to build houses there. Puzzling. So,
The only thing you could-
run up to the break at about a minute and a
Okay,
half.
Emile. Go ahead.
Right, I liked what he said about the over gentrification of Lowell, because you have like a disconnect between the cost of living, the cost of renting an apartment or a condo or whatever, and the actual income of your average
Yeah.
Lowellian. In other words, the city is becoming increasingly unaffordable, and there's no one in sight. So it's become inhospitable for the person that grew up and was raised in Lowell. And as what he said about the city becoming too over-gentrified, I think this belies one of the underlying issues. The city's getting I agree with him, the city's getting too far ahead of itself in trying to create optics or make money, and not really, looking at the quality of living that the average person is trying to achieve.
Good point.
So we're going to leave it there. We're going to go up to Breakland, and Facebook continues to play, but we're going to take a break. Be right
Okey-doke.
back, next.
Welcome back to City Life. I'm Linda Bown. I'm your host. I have Sean Mcdonough and Emile Kaufman, both candidates for the council. Sean is for District 4, and Emile is at large. Now, Sean, you've been talking about a lot of the problems in District 4, and your district is a problem. You've got so much. You've got Centerville, you've got downtown, and so what are your plans? What are your points for running?
Yeah, several of the problems that I've learned through. So what kicked off this campaign was this focus on parks, parking, pedestrian safety, which are like 3 Ps that really summarize like a quality of life and an amenity issue. It's access to parks and open space, parking, It's just
Yeah.
a problem everywhere. And pedestrian safety, largely, I mean, we saw that picture that John put up of the cratered sidewalks of Lowell, that you can't walk. I have a one-year-old. I notice, I teach sub-separate special education, and several of my kids have mobility problems. I've noticed this for years, but it doesn't get worse, but you notice it more when you're suddenly pushing a stroller or have a toddler
Yeah.
who's starting to learn how to walk. The sidewalks downtown are not passable. They're
Really?
not. I mean, so I have neighbors. I have neighbors in Father John's Medicine Building who use walkers or mobility scooters, and you have to go out into the street. You have to come back in. You have pieces of concrete that are 5 inches sticking up out of the ground. You can't. What are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
If I, it's my birthday, I'm 30. I almost said as a 29-year-old able-bodied man. As a 30-year-old able-bodied man. I'm 30. As a 30-year-old able-bodied man, if I am tripping, right? If I'm having an issue, and I fell once, I fell a couple times running. Maybe I should look down more. But if that's a problem that I'm having, you can imagine how much worse that is when my 90-year-old grandfather visits, or when any of my neighbors at Father John, like when Debbie tries to walk across the street. Like, it's not...
So the issue is the sidewalks and the streets are not safe to walk.
Right, are not
Or
safe to
park.
walk on. And how do we fix that?
Yeah,
Right?
how do we?
I mean, it's a sidewalk. You patch the sidewalk.
Okay.
So I think on the actual material breaks, that is something that needs to be repaired with
Okay.
concrete, if it's a concrete sidewalk. On accessibility in general, we do desperately need to look at our trash and our parking. Somebody sent me a really good article. I'm going to have to put it up on my Facebook. It's about Toronto, but a random person that seems to like talking to me. Thank you, Emmett. Sent me this article on Toronto and this look at trash and... Sorry?
You're okay.
Trash and parking, and how trash and parking affect walkability and amenity and residents' ability to use a neighborhood. And I live above Brood Awakening. We have Trash Mountain once a week, and it's not Andy's fault. It's also my residential trash that I have to put out because I'm also my building's maintenance person, because we couldn't find anyone who could do it affordably. So we saved $100 and I do it. So we have 13 residential units worth of trash and a restaurant's trash. It goes out on the street in a big pile right in front of the
Okay.
sidewalk. We also have the place that people sit, right, the outdoor seating area. And so now we wind up with less than 3 feet in portions on trash day of passable area.
Okay.
That's something the city needs to, and not just in my building, that the city needs to think about, especially as we continue to expand development downtown. As we're putting in more residences, less than 30 unit buildings that aren't gonna have, we don't have a space for a dumpster, and we only have 13 residential units. So if we don't have space for dumpsters, the alleys are all privately owned, and it's a patchwork network of who owns what where. We need a plan for trash storage and for parking, for pickup, because things like that are also accessibility issues. It's an eyesore, but it's also an accessibility issue.
Well, you can't, I've heard for years now, downtown, we got to do something with downtown. Well, if you can't walk downtown, you can't park downtown.
Right.
Why is anybody going to come to downtown?
And we have, in beyond coming to downtown, we have close to 6,000 residents downtown.
That's right.
And to me, and this is really a driving part of the beginning of this as a downtown resident, and as I walk around, I'm learning more about Centerville, Pawtuckaville, Back Central, and it's infuriating. However, as a downtown family, there are close to 6,000 of us. And there are people, so on Jackson Street, you have 300 apartment units, and a very good number of those, so there's more than 300, I'm thinking specifically about 109, 71, and 27, the 3 Wynn buildings. 300 units. Over a third of them are market rate rentals. You get people paying $23,000 to $2,500 a month in rent. You're telling me that those people don't have disposable income? I lived there. I lived there for 3 years. And Carolyn and I would walk down Central Street occasionally, but we'd also go get in the car and drive somewhere else. We spend far more money downtown now that we actually live literally, 50 yards closer by going down Central Street.
Go ahead.
How do we get those people? So before we start thinking about people driving in from Chelmsford and Andover, how do we get 6,000 people that live downtown to like their neighborhood enough to walk outside and enjoy the neighborhood? And what comes with enjoying the place that they live is incidental spending at coffee shops and sandwich shops. And you have 6,000 customers just sitting there. Wait, it's customers, it's me. Bakeries. But we don't have that free social third space. There is no playground. There is no soccer area. There's not a volleyball net. We have a few patches of grass where we could do it. We have city-owned lots that nothing's been built on yet. We could.
Well, now, I'm hearing
Yeah.
that the proposed Toronto
Yeah.
is going to create that sort of thing, isn't it?
If we get it.
If you did, but do you know have you had any input to say this is part of what we need in the district, that we don't have a playground, that we don't have?
I've been saying this for years. I've said it to the current counselor at a neighborhood meeting. I have, yeah.
Okay.
There's only so much one can.
So,
You have 90 seconds, Sean.
Okay. Yeah, we need, and I'm not saying we need a playground because I have a 1-year-old. It would be nice because I have a 1-year-old, but if it's not a playground, a basketball court, any sort of free public space activity that other neighborhoods have. Calorie Park is a phenomenal example of this for the Lower Highlands, right? And the whole neighborhood gets out there, and it's a usable space for that neighborhood, and then they all go buy ice cream at whatever the current name of that variety store is.
Yeah.
I'm there all the time. Or you go to Shed Park, which I know is Shed Park, but then they walk up and they spend all their money at Wendy's. Like kids from teenagers through 30-somethings. And then you also have people with children, and that's where community happens. That's where incidental spending happens. That's a social third space. People like
Good point.
that. You need that in a neighborhood. If you're gonna have 6,000 people live somewhere, they need a place to do recreation.
So you're saying living in downtown is problematic? There's no parking, there's no amenities?
There's parking, it's just expensive. I pay $1,200, so for one car, I pay $1,200 to park my car on the year. So, we only have one car because both Carolyn and I work at the high school. If you have two working adults, you're paying $2,400 to park your car at the resident rate. So, on top of your property tax, if you're one of the 17% of people in an owner-occupied place, that's a number that we need to increase too.
Say goodbye, Sean.
I know you have to go to
Goodbye. I need to go to work.
Good luck.
So look, I'm
Good
going
luck
to do
this
some
year.
announcements,
Okay.
and I'm going to shut off. I'll shut off Linda's mic, so you guys can chit chat up. But Facebook can probably still hear you. If you want an announcement on City Life, easy thing to do, just call my cell phone. Simplest thing to do. Every Friday in lovely Lowell, Massachusetts, they have a farmer's market. Every Friday at 350A Dutton Street. And that's thanks to community teamwork. They make a lot of good things happen in Lowell, so thank you, community teamwork, for making that happen. District 3, let me shrink this up so we can look at this. District 3 up in Belvedere, they're going to have a candidates forum, and all the candidates are going to be there. Corey Belanger, Dan Finn, Aaron Rourke, and Belinda Duran. They're all going to be at this forum. It's going to be August 27th, which is tonight, at the Sullivan Middle School. And the address is 150 Draper Street in lovely Lowell, Massachusetts. Hope to see you up there tonight, and thanks for putting this on. The Belvedere Neighborhood Association put this on. Thank you for doing this. Sexto de Jesus, he has a pretty good idea. He's going to invite a bunch of business people. So if you own a business in Lowell, this is a little forum that Sexto's having, and he's going to have it at the Trem Caprito Brazilian Cuisine, 62 Grove Street. It used to be the Danish Market, and that's the address. So what he wants you to do is just RSVP that you're going to go to this. Just email info@sexto for Lowell. Just take your camera out of your, take your phone out of your pocket, take a picture of this slide. If you're a small business, a big business, and you'd like to get a potential city councilor's ear, he'd love to hear from you, and this is a great idea. Let's see if there's anything else. Okay, 9/11. Mark Kratman sent me this. I'm going to try to get Mark in to talk about this on September 11th. They have a real moving ceremony every year, and they have a beautiful 9/11 memorial out in Tewksbury. Very moving event, and it's going to be on 9/11. It's on Thursday, September 11th at 7 p.m., and doesn't make any difference about the weather. Rain or shine, they do this event, and it's a very moving, nicely done event. And that's, I got one more thing I'm going to talk about today. Get rid of this guy. Ned Tarmey. Some guy beat Ned up, robbed him of his wonderful lifestyle. Ned's in his, 87 years old. He got beaten up at his house by this guy. And then the sentencing is going to happen today. So I know I'm going up to the Manchester Courthouse, 300 Chestnut Street, Manchester, New Hampshire. Got to be there for 2 p.m. I'm going to get there around 1 because I don't know the area. And I'm going to probably drag a couple of people up there with me. We'll see who wants to go. But if you're interested in witnessing what kind of sentencing this guy gets, I'm going to go up and watch that today. So that's my last announcement. Linda, I'm going to turn your microphones back on and going back to you guys. Thank you.
How is Ned? I hope he's recovering well.
Talked to Ned on the phone, and he sounds great. Sounds great. Full of enthusiasm. He just can't get his legs to work the way he wants them to work. So he's stuck in rehab until he can get them operating the way he wants to get them operating.
Well, he's working at it. And Bob Hoey is recovering well.
He's home.
Oh,
Hoey's
welcome home.
He might be watching the show this morning. He might not be.
That is such good news.
And so everybody's going in a good direction. I got these 2 texts I'm going to read off to you guys. Now, who's responsible for Shattuck Street disaster? That'd be the Lowell City Manager. And the Shattuck Street disaster is the cobblestones. Now, Shattuck Street is off East Merrimack. So no, it's not Merrimack. So if you going down Merrimack Street towards City Hall, and if you take a left at the subway, that's Shattuck Street. And it's another good reason to make sure you have a coffee lid on your coffee cup, because it's a really rough ride. And the city just did this. It's within the last 5 years that the city put this in. I know the city will call me today. That was 7 years. It's disgrace. Terrible, terrible ride. Also, what should be done about the Bishop Markham having issues? David Prestipino, God bless him, he makes a video on Facebook. The city council's in horror, can't believe this is going on with their precious government housing. He's letting this happen on where people are going to the bathroom in the hallways, the homeless are going to the bathroom in the hallways. And so what I want to ask Emile is, recently, President Trump passed a law where he can pull, it has an executive order, where you can pull somebody who's homeless off the street and put them against their will. You can pull them off the street and send them off in a good direction, but you can pull them right off the street. They have no, you can take away all their rights, or many of their rights, I should say, and you can pull the homeless off the street. What do you think the city of Lowell should do with the homeless?
Did you say the homeless population?
Yeah.
Homeless people that are
Right. I think, if you look at what's transpiring last summer and what's actually happened, I think what happened was in 2015, there was a movement to get the panhandlers off the street, right? This was pushed by, unfortunately, the church, shadow powers, and the city council itself. The federal court ruled that it was a freedom of speech, regardless of what the
executive order changes
that they have the right to do it. And just last summer, the federal court said that campsites could be dismantled on public property. So that left homeless people in a situation that criminalized homelessness. Obviously, if you're homeless, you have no place to go. You could be arrested for vagrancy, loitering, trespassing.
Yes.
And the whole idea behind the kind of law enforcement that Lowell has now is broken windows. If you stay on top of small crimes, they won't metastasize into bigger crimes. And, there's some truth to that. I think New York in the 1990s is a testimony to that kind of policing. But there is a sense of over-policing, overzealous policing, where you criminalize a person sitting down and trying to have a sandwich because they happen to be in a certain location. And this makes the homelessness even worse because you get a record, you're stigmatized. So the city went from, I think in some senses, being charitable to being ruthless, to being vicious against the homeless population. I understand that the...
What are you going to do with them?
Respectfully, I'm not hearing, what do you want to do with them?
I think pilot programs that make, the homeless have it difficult enough. But pilot programs that, assist them in their daily living, whether it's washing clothes or taking a shower or whatever.
My summation of what you said, change nothing, just leave it alone.
I didn't hear him. What did he say?
He said, change nothing, just leave them alone. Is that what you're saying?
Change what?
Nothing. What do you want to do with them? I mean, there
I
are
want-
programs out. You've got all these nonprofits that are taking care of these
I
people.
want the city to stop kicking them around and they're just moving around like they're cattle.
All right, so
You see what I'm saying?
where should they go? Where do you live? Do you want them?
Homelessness is a problem in every urban area, and how that's addressed legally, not skirting the law and imposing an onerous, a ruthless policing on them. Okay, I'm not.
I've never seen that in Lowell, and I don't think I ever will. Okay, so I'm going to read this to you. Mrs. Bown is correct. That's the point of the front-runner city program to address both infrastructure and quality of life, and giving the city the opportunity to network with global expertise and investors. To advance the city's already established pre-existing strategic plans. That's from Jeannie Burrows. Thank you, Jeannie.
Thank you, Jane. You always sum things up so well. You get us on point. I am having a hard time understanding this because I have never seen that. I've seen, we have, what is it, 74 nonprofits in Lowell? There certainly are people, we don't need another nonprofit or pilot program to do what we're already doing. The problem is nonprofits don't work on weekends. Nonprofits don't work at night. And these people need help then. So, when Mike Dukakis closed all the mental hospitals and he put them out in the street, now what do we do with them?
Right. Whether you like it or not, what happened in last summer is that there was a power play. So if you had St. Paul's Church, they were threatened with being too charitable to the homeless. I think that's the underlying reason that the city was threatening them with fines for trash and
When you say
and
they're
not-
being too good, they're feeding them, right?
St. Paul's Kitchen.
Are they
St. Paul was charitable.
perpetuating,
St. Paul was charitable toward and it
Okay.
still is toward the homeless. But the city was trying to have a program to deal with the homeless population in one voice and in one style. And underlying that was get them off the street, get rid of them. Whether it was spoken or unspoken. There on Appleton Street, there was an outreach place that shut down. And I think the underlying reason was that the city probably told them, this is speculation, and I could be overreaching, told them that they were really enabling the homeless population, and they had an agenda and an approach, the broken windows approach, to get rid of the bums. See what I'm saying? And
I know.
I'm not saying there aren't nonprofits, and that's kind of like questionable too, as to the real heart-to-heart for that population.
I know that you said...
I'm just saying the way the city's doing it now. I mean, they're running out of funds. They can't continue that. Pile on of targeting the homeless. But the way they did it last summer was really, really bad.
Well, Emil, you started the program saying that you wanted to bring the focus to downtown Lowell and businesses and have foot traffic. You're not going to have any foot traffic with
you're
the
wrong.
homeless there.
No, there's something called the tipping point. I don't know if you read that book, and the broken windows approach is that when you change the atmospherics, right, and when downtown isn't dead, and there's more people coming in, those problems go away.
But,
for whatever reason, that's the dynamic, and they go away quickly.
But I don't go downtown because I had a homeless person was banging at my window. I never went back.
Right.
I thought there's an issue.
Right. The city was supposed to introduce the jam plan into that area, and that was going to increase the quality of life and bring in more people.
Well, this
Those
wasn't
things
in the
never
jam plan.
materialized.
This was downtown. This was
So
downtown.
Lowell is big on rhetoric, but it's short on actually results. Do you know?
But again, I don't think you can blame the city. Nobody goes downtown, and it's affecting other neighborhoods. If you have homeless people, you have to deal.
Blame it all on the homeless.
Let's not say the poor homeless
And
people.
I'm going to back up just a little bit, okay? The first hour, we introduced Emile, and I don't think we introduced Emile, and people don't know he's running for city council.
Okay,
So
second
I
hour,
think you
that's
should
right.
consider reintroducing
Okay.
Emile.
Okay, good
Thanks.
point. Emile Kaufman, and the second hour we didn't because we were Sean had to leave. You're a candidate at large
Yes, I am. Yeah.
for the city of Lowell. Okay, what are your points? What do you want to do for the city of Lowell? Why are you running?
I want to get away from the pork battle, kind of like subsidizing the city, because all those streams of revenue are drying up.
Okay.
Right? So you have to look at what's the real. Lowell's had economic forums from time immemorial, right? That's just part of the overall propaganda. Is the city really revitalizing? Is the city really having a renaissance? The city's been having a renaissance since the Renaissance. See what I'm saying? And there's always cheerleaders and that kind of thing for the city. But I want to really change the real dynamics of the city, make it self-sustaining, and bring a real dynamic downtown, right? Boston has an area where there's no traffic, and downtown crossing where there's just like foot traffic, shoppers, and that kind of thing. I want to bring that concept to downtown Lowell on Sundays. So downtown crossing kind of atmospherics for Lowell to bring in shoppers, have musicians, a carousel, food trucks, food carts, make Lowell alive, make it a real downtown. Not a Potemkin village, not something that you see in North Korea, something that a downtown crossing, a downtown really should have. And that's one thing I want to bring to Lowell is a downtown crossing for Sundays. Another thing is I want to change.
I like that.
I want to change the marketing for Lowell. I want to, the restaurant scene is really a foodie paradise. I want to market it that way to the Metro Boston area and have people come into the downtown. I want to put together travel packages, tour packages, so people can take buses and come to Lowell and visit Lowell. I want to bring the buses back downtown. Not the big buses, but eco-friendly electric buses
I agree with
that
you on that.
brings people back into downtown. I think there's an underlying issue. Why do they get rid of the buses, right?
Well, it's too hard. I mean, if I'm in the Highlands, I have to go to Thorndike Street to get a bus to downtown Lowell. You're right. It's too complicated, and so people aren't doing it.
Right. Just change the dynamics. Just change the operating principles of how Lowell is run. Change it from top down, City Hall, social planning, to the entrepreneurs in Lowell. Let them decide. Let them have the initiative. Let everyday average people, chime in and set the tone and set the sense of direction. Change the atmospherics of Lowell. Change the atmospherics of downtown.
I love exactly what you're saying. How do you do it?
Right. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
But how is it going to be done?
Marketing program. Actually reach out to flagship restaurants. Have somebody on Lowell have that as their marketing job. Have them on the phone. What can we do to invite you into downtown? Have a consortium of businesses that, along with City Hall, that will put billboards outside of the Metro Boston area to advertise Lowell and all the amenities and everything that Lowell has to offer. Put together a great resources that people can actually have, like food trucks, food carts.
Yeah.
Make it a more vital, exciting city.
Do the, now, is there any room for these pop-up businesses and stores and restaurants in Lowell? Do you think that could be done in downtown Lowell?
It's good, but a lot of them, to be honest, that they're all subsidized by, the money during the Biden administration. You have to ask yourself, is it musical chairs? Are they here a day, gone tomorrow, when that money runs out? What Lowell really needs is foot traffic, real people downtown, not just optics, it looks good, right? Real people downtown that really shop and make those businesses self-sustaining. In that sense, Lowell needs to change its underlying philosophy, its underlying approach. And that's the dynamic that I want to bring to Lowell.
So where do we start, though? One of the problems is the idea, the concept of downtown Lowell is that it's a lot of homeless people. You do have a problem.
I think the real problem is the rules and regulations and the historicity of Lowell,
Yeah.
the historical park, which has a lot of rules and regulations that actually stifle kind of dynamic entrepreneurial development. You have to play within a certain kind of guidelines, and that's a straitjacket. It's a restriction on operating procedures for the businesses. I think understand that there is an historic district, right? But don't make it so onerous that people can't, advertise or make downtown an exciting place. So there's a contradiction. There's an historical area, which
Yeah.
essentially is downtown, and there's real businesses with real people that have to really live, right? And not just go through the idea that Lowell is a museum. In one sense, it is a museum, right?
Yeah.
And in another sense, it's a real place with real people and businesses that need to make real money. So I think there has to be some solution on how those two things can work in real time with real people.
Now, on promoting, I love the idea of promoting, and you market it, and you get the billboards, and for what you're talking about, the existing businesses.
What's that?
You're talking about helping the existing businesses to get foot traffic into
traffic, correct.
Okay, so we've got all this marketing. Well, you can market, but if they come down in their mug, they're not going to come back. What do we do with that?
They're not going to come back for what reason?
They
Well,
get
but-
mugged.
Because they've gotten mugged, they've gotten beaten up, they've been robbed. I mean, if you have panhandlers that are aggressive, I'm not going to come back, and that's what happens. So, I know that you're saying that the police are being cruel.
I think that's a straw man issue. If you got rid of all the panhandlers and shipped them off, all the homeless people, and shipped them off to Siberia, downtown
I'm not saying
Lowell
just-
would still have the same issues and the same problems. What downtown Lowell needs is a real flagship restaurants, anchor restaurants like Bertucci's, Applebee's, and that kind of a thing, Legal Seafoods. They need something like that
Emile,
as a
let
draw.
me ask you a silly question, okay? Okay, so you're going out to dinner with one of your best friends, and somebody walks up to you and just pushes you. What do? They just push you out of the way. They push your friend out of the way, and they just keep walking down the street. What should be done with that person?
I think they're real people. I think treat them as real people.
Okay.
Don't
So,
treat them as some
doing
sort
nothing
of like
about it, Emile, God bless you, doing nothing about it is not working, and that's not going to work in downtown Lowell. If I have somebody in any one of my businesses that's pushing people around, I call the police right away. The police are very receptive. They show up. They take care of the issue. It can't be done. Standing there, walking in the middle of traffic with a sign saying, I'm poor, I have babies, I have this, I have that. in my mind, is totally unacceptable. The police should say, you're not allowed to walk into the street, you're under arrest, we're going for a ride.
Right, I'm not for aggressive panhandling,
Well,
but
that's-
it's the
but-
constitutional right for somebody to panhandle. I think you can't go over the
I'm
law
gonna read these
because it
te-
doesn't suit, someone's fancy.
I'm going to read
Okay.
these texts, and I'll give the microphone back over to Linda. When we grew up in Lowell, had the paper, the Sun, doctor's offices, lawyers' offices, buses, all went away. Lowell had the Women's Hockey League that this texter never saw promoted. I think they are leaving. They played in the area. It was packed every game. So, sorry
That's
for the
a-
Ladies Hockey League.
That's a very important issue, and they never have. I don't know why the city hasn't promoted it.
Sexist. I'm just kidding.
No, well, no, the arena is there, and it's top grade hockey. It's amazing. I've been to the games, and my granddaughter is a hockey player. She's 8, and I'm a big advocate for women in hockey. And I think that they dropped the ball because it was packed. People were going. So why didn't the city get behind it and promote it?
Are they gone?
They're talking about it. I don't know if
Well, the
it's
city
a
should
done
jump on
deal.
the issue. So
They should right now
you
not
call
lose
the
them. Don't
building
lose
man,
them.
Call the $1,000 a day city manager that we have when he gets rid of his jet lag from Switzerland and say, what are you going to do? Right on the city council floor. One of the city councilors should ask, Mr. Manager, we got a women's hockey league. What the hell's going on with that? They want to leave town? Can you capture them? And
I reach out to all of them and ask someone to do that because it's been an asset to Lowell in the area, and it is making money, and it is bringing people into Lowell, and so now these people have to eat somewhere, or would like to eat somewhere and have a bite to eat before or after the game. So let's not lose them, because what's going to be in the arena after that? So I think that's a good point.
I think the overriding question is if you believe Lowell's moving forward or it's on a downward spiral. And I hate to sound doom and gloom, but if you look at Lowell selling all its properties to the city, Lasher Park, Songus Arena, those are indexes, signs that Lowell really isn't making it. And Lowell needs a new approach, a new plan.
Well, they have to promote them. You talk about promotion. You had things, and they haven't been promoted. You had the baseball team. You've had the hockey team that moved to, I don't know. They Worcester? No, where are they? But they're not in Lowell. I know that. And so, and we've had
It could've
things
been-
come to Lowell.
It could have been a marketing failure.
Well, that's, okay, what do we do about the women's, what do we do about the women's hockey league?
Jeannie Barker sends this note to me. And at the end of the show yesterday, I said, someone called you and stated that the local election commission's decision is final and cannot be challenged. Well, it's not final, and it cannot be challenged. It can be challenged in a number of ways, starting with the Secretary of State, the State Ballot Law Commission, Superior Court, or the Massachusetts Supreme Court. You just have to show legal error of the elections law. Thank you, Jeannie Balkers. Thank you for your comment. I stand by what I said. Thank you. Back over to you guys.
Okey-doke. And I assume that's the question of the signatures?
Well, what's happening right now is Sherry Barboza, she had 151 signatures, and you only need 150. So it's close, it's a close shave that Sherry Barboza's on the ballot against Kim Scott. Kim Scott is challenging some of the signatures because a person used a post office box. And Kim Scott's understanding of the regulation is that you can't have a post office box as your address. And civil rights advocates say you can. If my partner wants to beat me up, wants to murder me, and I've ran away from my partner, and I have a new address, I don't have to publish my address anywhere. I don't want to publish I don't
Okay.
want my partner to know that where my new address is. So I just use a post office box. Now, City of Lowell, their understanding of the signature law, the 150 signatures, is that you just have to live in Lowell. So you can live in the acre and sign the papers for somebody who lives in South Lowell. You can live in District 1 and sign the papers for somebody who lives in District 6.
But how do you, John, I'm just going to interject
Go
here.
ahead.
Post office address. You don't even have to be in Lowell to have a post office box address. I have a friend that is one of those women that has a post office box. It's in Lowell. She could, I guess, if you're going by that theory, she could sign the papers, but she lives in Drake.
Yeah?
So I think that, and they challenged, remember they challenged the candidates about where they lived. How about,
Well, I trust the board members for the election commission that they did their due diligence. So they said, okay, Linda Bown used a post office box address. How can we be in touch with Linda Bown? They go, hey, Linda, how are you? Did you sign Mcdonough's papers, or did you sign Madam so-and-so's papers? Yes, I did. Thanks for letting us know. Bye-bye. End of story. I think, I don't know what the board did, but I trust the board's diligence to do the job correctly. I have a lot of things that in the past that I've when Greg Pappas ran the place, and now Will runs the place, and they run a very good establishment with the election commission. I'm happy with the way they do things. I was puzzled to find out by the Secretary of State, which is pretty much jellyfish. They don't really give you a good answer. I called down there to ask them, because I had a whole slew of exactly the same penmanship. Mary, Billy,
yeah.
all the same address. There was like 6 names, and they're like, how the heck is this permissible? So I called down to the State House, and after I got the telephone chicane, I talked to many different people, and because I was told I did a little TV show, I'm just asking for public access for the little TV show I do. I have nothing to do with any government agency, and that's why they gave me the jump. They didn't want to talk to me. And when I finally did get an answer, they said, well, look, you could be holding groceries and give permission for somebody to sign your name. You could be holding your baby, changing your baby. You could be, your hands are tied up that you can't sign. You can give somebody permission to sign for you. That was my takeaway from the woman who was talking to me from the State House.
So the woman, whoever got the signatures that you're telling me, they're all the same, must have been aware that none of the people were capable of signing.
But this is like 5 years ago. This is not
But
this
still,
election.
it's smoke and mirrors.
And then Melanie Gilbert, when she was here, she says, John, when she investigated, she went, there were beautiful penmanship. They went to a convent. And the nuns signed. Of course, the nuns all have perfect
Yes, they do.
Palmer method.
The Palmer, that's right, the Palmer method.
And so we did chuckle just like you
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
But I got my answers, and they're reasonable. And the reasonable answer I got was I trust the board or the election commission, because we both know Beverly Anthes, who's now on a board in Connecticut, that they do their deal.
So what was the ruling? Were the signatures allowed?
They got rid of one of Sherry's signatures, and Sherry Barbosa's signature. My takeaway, I didn't see any facts, I just heard. And Sherry has 150, which is all she needs to do
Yeah.
to run for office. I talked to a lawyer friend of mine. If it does go to Superior Court, unless they get it, I think it's called an injunction, which is unlikely. It's good. The ruling that the election board made will stand until the court determines otherwise. So unless they have an injunction, if the Superior Court goes, oh, this is wrong, they're wrong, the Superior Court can instantly stop it if they want to, but likely not, because the established board knows more about the position
And
than the
to,
judge would.
to avoid all of this, I guess the message is to anybody that is running for office, you certainly want to get more than just one signature above
Well-
the amount you need. I mean,
I agree, Linda, but like she's first time running for
I
office.
know, I understand that,
Sure.
but
So I got a comment, now I'm going to go back to Emile's interview. Reopen Tewksbury State Hospital for the mentally ill, drug and alcohol, addicted, and homeless. Take the outside tour of the museum tour at the Tewksbury campus, and you will understand how it used to work before it was shut down.
Yeah.
Thank you for your comment. Back to you, Linda.
What do you think about that idea?
I think it's ridiculous. I think people are people, right? Whether you like them or not. You're not going to, treat people as some kind of like marginalized group and say you're not welcome, you're not persona non grata, and you should get out. And you shouldn't force people to go into programs that they don't. People are free in this country. You're not going to say because you have an issue, you need to go into this program. If you don't go into this program, well, too bad for you. You actually need to die.
So you're encouraging drug addiction? I mean, don't you want to try to help them? I mean, what do you do with the mentally ill? They put them out in the street and they need medications.
Look you can categorize anybody and say, oh, you're this, you're that. You need to go into this program, right?
No.
How about the law? Their freedoms, their own abilities to choose. That's why if I'm city councilor, I would have programs that if they want to make money and shovel sidewalks, they can do that.
They don't want to.
Well, just hang on a second. What I'd like to ask is...
They're not one monolithic group that acts and thinks the same way. They're actually people, individuals, the same as you and I. I hate to be curt, but I have to be somewhere at 8 o'clock. I mean,
okay.
I appreciate being on the show.
You can skedaddle if you got...
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
I like to say one concluding thing. If you vote for me, it won't be a dog and pony show. It will be like real action and real commitment to the city. And thank you very much for listening.
All right. Well, thank you for coming in and telling us how you feel.
Anything else you want to say?
What do you say? I'm sorry.
Is there anything else you want to say?
No, I like to say thank you very much for allowing me on your show.
Got a lot of
it.
great ideas. Thank you, Emile.
Thank you. I
Good
appreciate
luck.
it. Thank
Okay.
you. Have a great morning. Thank you.
You too. Thanks.
Thank you.
Excuse me?
Linda, you're going to have to babble. I'm going to walk Emile out.
Okay.
Thank you. The next meeting.
It was very nice meeting you.
You too. Thank
Good
you.
luck. Well, I hope that somebody's listening out there about the Women's Hockey League. I think it's been an asset to the city, and I would hate to see it lost and go somewhere else. It will bring in, it has brought people in, and when people do come to Lowell, they can see that they've got some lovely restaurants and places to go. The National Park is still very active and there and visible, and so I think that you want to bring the people into Lowell, and it's just such a wonderful asset to the city. So that's, I don't know if anybody out there is interested or promoting it, but I would appeal to the council to step up and find out what is going on with that one. That's something that's here now. I mean, I absolutely agree with looking into the future and finding other things to help the city and maintain it, but this is something that you have right now, and it's a moneymaker, and it's you're going to see pro hockey. It's unbelievable. I would recommend that anybody that's interested in hockey, and I know there are a bunch of people out there that have young kids that are in hockey programs, it would behoove you to take them to see these women play, because you're going to see fabulous hockey, and they're going to absolutely be amazed. And they have it close up. It's right there for them, and it's just like the university. They have no problem. They love having the UMass Lowell Hockey Division I, which is also an asset to the city and brings people in. And so this is another point that they can help. I'm just sort of, when I saw that post that they might leave, I think that's going on the women's hockey, that the post that
The Texas, yeah.
yeah, and
I don't know anything about them, and
yeah, but I get that, John, because
I'm not a sports guy.
that's just what I was going to say, and I get that. But as I was saying, when you were out there, I know there are parents with young hockey players, and this is a,
I'm looking at you on the monitor.
okay.
Isn't that
But
nice?
I've been looking at the camera while you were gone, because I had no one else to look at. So
And you could even look at yourself on the other.
I know.
I didn't know the Facebook Live camera looked like. That's good.
Yeah, that's very, very good.
All right, so
But that would be it.
hopefully our fearless city manager can save this.
I hope so.
The
I hope
almighty-
so.
the
I know that
almighty
maybe
golden.
hockey is, maybe he's not a sports person, and he doesn't want, I don't, but I know there's someone out there that is, and, so let's not lose it. If there's any hope, maybe they've lost it already, I
So
hope.
I learned a lot from Emile. He's got some good ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Mcdonough did a good job. Thank you, Sean, for coming in. Always get
Yes,
some good ideas
thank you
from
so
Sean,
much.
especially about downtown. I did know about Rotary Park on Hudson Street, that the city took away 14 parking spaces.
Well, I don't understand why somebody doesn't, well, you would expect that the rep, the council would go and say, why? Why?
They gotta know. How do they know?
It-
Unfortunately,
The
Linda,
residents, they're
the
just
city
stupid.
council are on the worldwide tour promoting things way over that are not local. And there's another one. Is there a $15 street event parking for women's hockey? People can be brutal. That's personal stuff, okay. Good points.
Yeah. Well, I just,
I should have put my name, I'm not Emile, but
no. I think they know that by now. I don't.
probably. So, hey, the block party that Tewksbury had went great?
Big success. Big success. And the fireworks, now, I had the good fortune of going up the river in a boat, and I saw the fireworks.
Nice.
So that was really.
Where did they shoot them? A barge?
Right, it's a bridge.
Oh,
So,
nice, okay.
It was really, and it was a delightful evening, and they had a perfect day for the block party. I have heard the feedback that people, that the charging to go in is a problem. It's kind of an expense. I mean, if it doesn't seem like it, and I know they have to pay for things, but, before you walk in the door, if you're paying $5 a person and there are 6 of you, then that, and then you have to feed them. And the food trucks, by the way, are marvelous. They
Well,
have,
maybe next year they can just say, okay, the family can go in for 15.
yeah,
$15 for a family, and you can bring in the whole family. If you got 6, and tough. If you
yeah.
want to bring grandma and grandpa, because
I think that's a very good idea.
with the Hampton Beach on their seafood festival, which is 2 weeks from now.
Oh,
It's
that's
like
always good.
gigantic, and it's like $10 to get in
Yeah.
per head, and they don't care. I'm poor. Well, sorry, you can't
Yeah.
get in. That's just their attitude. Everybody pays $10. I think there's an age limit on kiddos. I don't think you have to pay for an infant. I'll get some more information on that, but yeah, if you have a 10-year-old, the kid's paying. That's my takeaway. I could be wrong.
And actually, I know what you're saying, and it didn't impede the block party at all. I mean, it was a big success, so maybe you're right. Maybe people don't mind. They
This stuff,
expect
it costs money. We got cops we have to have there to keep peace and quiet. We have to have vendors come in. There's insurance involved. And the next time Colin Loisel comes in, I'll ask him, what are some of the expenses that are involved with doing that? The fireworks people, they don't come cheap.
Well, I think that the issue is that people that have lived in town originally saw the block party as an opening for everybody in town to get together, and it's become so much more. There's so much more offered there.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not just a town block party anymore. And I think when you can grasp that idea, that now you've got something big and spectacular. They say that I wasn't there for some of the music, but they say it was fabulous. And so.
Well, it was a beautiful weather night. So what did you do anything interesting over the last week?
No, No. I've been, well, for me, it's been interesting. I've been spending time with the grandchildren, and we've been at Sportsman's Club frogging.
Frogging?
The little kids, they have no fear.
What's frogging?
They go, they literally wade in the, I can't believe it, in the muck and everything, and they catch these big, huge bullfrogs, and they're just absolutely delighted, squeals of delight. And
They're kind of juicy. How do you actually hold them?
I know. Well, the kids are good, but they do, that's the whole thing. It's quite funny, actually. They put them in a big bucket, and they have a little cover over them, and then all of a sudden, they take the cover off, and they all go jumping all over the place. It's just sort of...
Comment from the audience, great show today. On a lighter note, any donuts? No, sorry, no
No.
treats today.
No,
Not even Oreo cookies.
no, not a snack in sight, John. I don't know. But, so,
We'll be starving to death here.
what
We're
did you
lucky
do?
we
Have you been to
coffee.
the beach? Have you been to the beach?
Went down to Happy Hampton, had a great time, just sitting there doing absolutely nothing but looking out the window.
I like
And,
that.
had a fantastic crowd, and then, of course, the place we have, it's a little small condo, but the deck, we have a deck, and it looks right out on the road, so you see all these cars, and
Nice.
I saw a 63 Corvette convertible, which is
Wow.
a very rare car.
Yeah.
And he was riding a beautiful silver car, and Bentleys, okay, you see, whatever's gonna be out there. If you
Yeah.
get a new car, let's take a ride to the beach, honey. And
Absolutely.
they go for a ride down the beach, so you get to see all the new cars. And the new cars are, the 26s are out now, so.
Oh, really? Well, on Saturday, I went down to the All Gallery, which is on Market Street. Mm-hmm. On Dutton Street, I'm sorry. No, Market. And right by the Worthen. And then I went over to the Whistle House, because Vi has 2 paintings hanging in the Whistle House.
Oh, nice.
And I don't know if people are aware of how wonderful the Whistle House is. I hadn't been inside for a while, and you just go from room to room, and then you see this spectacular garden. And I don't think I've been there since a reception, I think it was for Phil Shea, when they named the bridge. They had the
Oh,
reception
okay, yeah.
there. And,
I remember going to that
yes.
event.
And it's just beautiful. I mean, it's open to the public, and you can rent the garden for an event. But just to see the spectacular art in the Whistle House, it was just so impressive. I just, I would recommend that, like Sean Mcdonough, that he's downtown. I wonder if he and many of his other residents have been there. I don't even know if they know it's there. I don't know if they know how much art. They have the brush, they have the All Gallery, and they have the Whistle House. That's a lot of art in walking distance.
It is.
And they're downtown, and I keep hearing about the people downtown, and we're not doing anything. Well, there it is. Utilize it. Make sure you go and see it, and then go to a women's hockey game.
Well, the first hour, I remember talking about my friends at the Monday Night Dinner Club. We ate in downtown Lowell deliberately, just because people would have told me you should give it a shot. How is it? Blah 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 blah. And you had trouble with downtown Lowell, and we had no trouble. I found a place to park. We couldn't find one homeless person. Nobody asked us for money. Nobody,
awesome.
I was with my friend Regina. We were walking down the street, and nobody, just hello, how you doing? Hi, just nods. It was a good time walking through downtown Lowell. So the city's managed to clean that up. Thank you,
Yes.
City of Lowell. It took you a little time to get that done, way too much long. You killed downtown Lowell, and now you need to do something to bring it back. But I'll tell you, it was safe. So get down the cobblestones,
Yes.
get down the fuse.
And then walk over to the galleries. I mean, there's a good opening right there. You've got some wonderful things to do down there, and then go get something to eat. See, hearing that you can walk downtown.
Yeah. And I found
They
a
need
place
to start
park.
pushing that, because
On the
people-
street, found a place to park on the street. I got to announce tomorrow, we got Evelyn Thorne's going to be here. Bobby Hoey still isn't strong enough to leave the house yet. I'm sure he's dying to get out of there, but he's not strong enough to leave the house yet. So he's still homebound, but he's home, God bless him. And then we got Sam Chase is going to be here, and city council candidate Sidney Lang is going to be here. And he's on the board of LTC. So LTC is having, Lowell Telecommunications, the cable people for Lowell, they're having a dispute with management. So I don't know. I don't even know enough about the issue to be dangerous about it. I know nothing about it. But I did get a text. I texted the president of the board, and I never heard back from him. But I did hear from the guy who runs it, Adam McClune, and he said talks are underway and they're progressing in a good manner. So I'll leave it at that because I got a very caustic text picking on some of the board members, and you get nowhere with the Cox, he's this, he's that, and so I didn't I didn't put on the show the caustic text that I did get, but I did investigate what's going on in LTC, and I trust Adam. He said everything's going it's going in a positive direction. Didn't say good, a positive direction.
Now, your candidate that's from LTC, an employee or a board member?
Board member.
Okay.
So
That should be
maybe
interesting.
he'll tell us a little bit more tomorrow, but usually, when it comes down to personnel issues, you're told, as a board member, just button your lip. You're not allowed to talk about it, because it's an HR issue,
Well, I know that
human resources.
we've had a lot of complaints about the buses and how they operate, and so we got to get Phil Shea in here and find out.
No, LTC's, Lowell Telecommunications, that's the cable too.
No, but Phil Shea on the buses.
Well, right now, the
okay.
buses are still free, and that's going away in September. Tommy Bomo is on the board as well.
Okay. And
Tony
he comes
Bomo,
in.
he makes time to come once a week. He was here yesterday with Cisco Maldonado, and I forgot to ask him about the buses. So I should text him and ask him what's going on, when the free buses are going to be done.
And I'd like to hear, about that. Has it been successful? Have people been utilizing it? Have they been coming into the city? Did they come into the city for the folk festival?
Well, how would you know? I'm looking at you on the monitor.
Because
How would you know that the buses are free?
it's on the show every day.
And people don't watch the show.
Of course they
We
do.
probably have 1,000 people watch the show. There's
But they have-
100,000 people who live just in Lowell. Never mind Tewksbury, Drake. So there's probably 250,000 people who are in this district,
Okay.
and 1,000 know there's free buses.
Well, what would you recommend they do? What
On the front
PR?
of the bus, free. That electronic.
Oh, that's a
I'm
good
going
idea.
to
Wow.
Linda's house. Bus
That's a good idea.
is free. Going to Linda's house. I'm going to Bill Ricker Center. Going to Tewksbury Center. Bus is free.
But then they wouldn't know where it's going.
It would blink. Going to Bill Ricker Center. Free bus.
Oh, I like that.
They have that
That's a good
electronic
idea.
thing.
Have you told anybody on the board about that?
They don't ask.
LITC.
They don't ask.
Well, they're not going to ask, I
We
guess.
it's time to say goodbye. See the
Well,
clock.
everybody have a wonderful day.
We're still on
Thank
Facebook,
you for
though.
watching. I want to thank the candidates. I want to thank Emile Kaufman and Sean Mcdonough for getting up and coming in and giving the people that do watch an opportunity to see
Taking
them.
your tough questions.
Yeah, I really beat people up. So next week we're having Steve Chamberlain's coming back and
I
Pam
think
Dakota.
You might have a, is it called 50 Legs, his
Yeah.
organization? Let me see what's.
And they have a fundraiser, which, by the way, is sold out. You
got John Dakota coming. as well.
Okay, yes.
Steve Chamberlain from 50 Legs and John Dakota. And I wouldn't be surprised if we have another city council candidate because it's coming up close on election.
And I know that Steve knew Hulk, and so we can have him. I'd like to hear.
New Hulk?
Yeah.
What's
We did
that?
fundraising with Steve, for Steve.
Oh, yeah, Hulk Hogan. Recently passed away.
Yes, and you're seeing a lot about it, so he'll be able to give us some personal insight about him. And the last time he was on, he rocked the show. I thought he's a wonderful guy. It's a great
He's
organization.
got a lot of charisma.
Oh, and
Charisma.
what an amazing thing. He talks about his life and what he's done with his life and what he's doing now.
Well, wasn't he a wrestler too?
Yeah, yes, Yes.
He was on the WW, whatever,
It is,
WWE,
yeah. And he
WWF.
continued after he lost his leg. Wow. Yeah, quite an amazing.
I didn't know that, but he's a gigantic guy.
Yeah, quite an
He can
amazing
walk up the door
story.
and go, "How you doing?"
With respect. Yeah, so everybody, I guess it is sold out, so you can't go, but, and he comes and gives shows about what he's done. I think we're off the air, aren't we?
We're still on Facebook.
Oh, good.
We're still on,
Well,
what's the other one?
He-
YouTube.
YouTube. What he does is he has an organization that he makes prostheses for amputees. And he made the statement that when you go into a nursing home, all of the prostheses are leaning against the wall, and the reason is because they hurt. And people don't understand, because he has lost his leg, and he understands it very well. And so he usually works with children. He flies them down to Florida and puts them in and sets them up and fits them for the prosthesis, works with them, does some physical therapy with them, and follows them, because children grow. And so as they grow, he changes them.
Well, I'm going to try to remember to ask. I remember I asked him last time, what do these things cost? And he gets them done for a lot less money. Like, to get it's like $15,000 or $20,000 to get a prosthesis, a fake leg, a fake arm, and and he gets it done he cuts a lot of corners, but he gets you the same prosthesis for a lot less money. I don't want to quote what I remember, because
you're absolutely right. Yeah.
It's clear as it should be. So he's a fun guy to have.
But yes, and who's going to say no to Steve? It's pretty hard. It's pretty
He's
hard.
got a gigantic heart. He has
Yes,
special
he
special
sells it.
charisma.
Oh.
He's got the right charisma. I'm going to shut everything off.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, thanks for watching.
Yeah,
We'll see you
thank you.
tomorrow. And
Yes.
that's it.
And we'll see you next week. It's going to be a good show.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
Shut this guy here off. Where is my little stoppy guy here? Finish. There it is. Come on, finish. There you go. All righty. Isn't that nice? Hit next. Save for 30 days.